Hi guys, it's only Alan here from the Airsoft Virgins again. Have you ever been in a situation where you've been in a shop or in a game, someone said something like an acronym or a term and you're not sure what it means but have been a little bit embarrassed to ask what it means? Yeah, me as well. So what I thought I'd do is put together 10 terms or acronyms all Airsoft Virgins should learn. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start with Riff. R-I-F. So I'll put them all up on the screen ahead of me. So Riff stands for Realistic Imitation Firearm or Replica Imitation Firearm. So that will be something like
the Uzi 9mm.
You know your weapons, buddy.
So it just stands for the gun. So when someone says what Riff are you running, what you're running with your Riff, what have you got in your Riff, what upgrades have you made to your Riff. So your Riff literally just means your gun. So Realistic or Replica Imitation Firearm. Okay, so the next one is GBB or gas blowback. So that relates around normally your pistols. You can get gas blowback assault rifles or submachine guns, but for this one we'll just talk about the actual pistol itself. So that's when you fill your magazine up with either your CO2 cartridge or your green gas, and the gun itself slides, blows back, just like that. So if I put magazine in it, fire it, you can see the slide itself fires back. Then that leads us on then to non-blowback or NBB, which is more like this one. So you put your magazine in it and then when you fire it, nothing. So you can tell it's fired. So yeah, gas blowback, non-blowback. CQB, close quarters battle. So if you see a lot of our videos where we're at the mill, for example, they're inside and they're what are considered a close quarters battle. So that's mainly using pistols, submachine guns, some assault rifles. You don't really tend to get your light machine guns out because a lot of places are single fire rather than rapid fire. And you don't really get many sniper rifles or anything like that. So CQB stands for close quarters battles, something like this. So the next one is AEG or automatic electric gun. So that is one of these. So anything that when you open the back or the front, you can put a battery in, whether it be from Tamiya or whether it be from a Dean's. So yeah, that's pretty much any assault rifle, submachine gun, pistol. Don't know many snipers, but I think you get snipers. Pretty much every single gun that you can get an AEG version of it. So it's anything that takes a battery. So the next one is MOLLE, or Modular Lightweight Load Carrying Equipment. Tends to be from America. That tends to be just a little webbing, as we tend to call it over here, like this here, that you can put your dump pouch, your pistol pouch, or you can put a magazine pouch or anything like that, as you can see here, which tends to be on a vest or on a belt or as a drop down, as you can see here. So that's MOLLE. So the next one is FPS. So that stands for feet per second. So that's how fast the BB, .2 BB, is coming out of the end of my barrel when I'm shooting. Now it has to be under a certain rate. Different places have different limits on what size BBs you can use, but they also have limits on what FPS or feet per second the actual BB is coming out of the gun. So you tend to use .2 BBs, and whether it be through your pistol or your AEG, you will then fire them through a chronograph like this. And as long as they're below the recommended amount or the limit that the place has, then you're fine to use them. So FPS stands for feet per second. So the next one is UKARA, so United Kingdom Airsoft Retailers Association. So these are, whenever you're opening a shop or you're opening an airsoft, and you have to have your UKARA license if you're going to sell the realistic imitation firearms, or Riff as we learned earlier, at your shop. And if you buy a gun, see, this one came standard, so this has not been touched, but if you look at some of the pictures like my first guns up here, you'll see that they're painted purple. So before I could buy a gun unpainted, I have to go and get my UKARA license. And the way you get your UKARA license is you have to go to the same venue 3 times over a minimum of 56 days. So your first one and your last one have to be 56 days apart or more. And yeah, that's, I went to the mill 3 times, got my UKARA license, so it allowed me to buy pistols, guns, anything I want without having them to be painted like this. So UKARA, United Kingdom Airsoft Retailers Association. So the next one is more of just a shortened down version of the name. It's not really an acronym, and there's 3 of them. So you've got low cap, mid cap and high cap. And that just relates to your magazine. And it's how many BBs it can fit in it. So a low cap tends to be below 30, a mid cap tends to be 30 to 100 odd, even all the way up to 250, and your high cap tends to be 250 or above. So for example, I've got this one here. So this is a mid cap, and you fill it using a speed loader into the top. And that one itself holds about 120. This also is another mid cap, but this one will hold 250. Again, just filled through the top. Then you got to your high caps. So your high caps tend to have a little opening, as you can see there, and you just literally pour your BBs in, and you have a little wheel at the bottom. And a lot of people like to refer to these as maracas, because when you're walking around, you can hear them shaking.
They call me Cuban Pete. I'm the king of a rumba beat. When I play the maracas, I go chick chicky boom, chick chicky boom.
Now you can get them in different sizes. So for example, that is a 325 round high cap, or I've got this one, which is a drum mag. So this will do about 1200. And again, you pour them through the top, and then you just tighten in the spring inside. So yeah, so that's low cap, mid cap and high cap. So low capacity, mid capacity and high capacity. And simply, it just refers to what magazine you're using. Okay, so the next one is hop up. So that is the mechanism inside the gun that allows the BB to travel further and also change the FPS. So let me just show you what I mean by that. So if I just take off the slide here, and in here you'll see most of the mechanisms for actually firing your BB. So let me just take this apart, okay, and then take this little unit out here, and then inside here you'll see you've got your inner barrel and also that little wheel there, that's your little hop up unit. So inside here there is a little rubber which you can't tell, you can't see unless you start taking it apart. Now I'm not technically minded enough to go any further than this, so I won't be taking it apart unfortunately. So inside there, the hop up unit there is a little wheel, and the wheel is pressing down on a rubber which is going through a little gap in the top of the barrel itself. Now by pressing down on it, when the BB comes through, with the rubber being pushed further down, it creates backspin. So as it's coming out, it's spinning backwards and it's going a lot further. So that then is increasing your distance, but it's also increasing your FPS. So what you've got to make sure is when you're playing around with your hop up unit itself, that you're not putting your FPS further than either A, the legal limit, or B, the limit of the site that you're going to. And you've got hop up units in your pistols, but you've also got hop up units in here as well. So if I just pull back there, you'll actually see just up here a little wheel, and you can play around with the hop up unit within your AEG as well. So you have hop up units both in your AEG, you have them in your pistol, and the whole idea behind the hop up unit is that you can either fire it further with a greater FPS or fire it a little bit less with a little bit less FPS. But always check the site that you go to find out what the maximum FPS that you can use. Obviously never go over it, but also check what the legal limits are as well. So that's hop up. So there you go. So that's 10 airsoft phrases or terms that every airsoft virgin should learn. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again.